Welcome back to my channel. I'm back out on site and you saw us getting the screws ready, walking around in that water, and now we're going to re-erect this stable. It's basically going to be a field store. There's no horses going inside it, so what we're going to do is put a raised timber floor all the way through because it's for storage and we want it to be nice and dry. We didn't really want to put a concrete base in because it's so disruptive to the environment for something like a field store. We would have had to put in loads of reinforcement because it's effectively 11.5 meters long by about 3 meters deep. So by the time you put a concrete raft in for that and all of the hardcore needed underneath, reinforcement, it still may want to crack. We're on clay here. There's a lot of heath, which is where the ground gets wet, swells up. And of course, in the summer, you get a lot of shrinkage. So both of those things can be a problem. And if we did want to engineer a base before anyone says that screws are expensive and it's uneconomical, I've done a cost analysis on this, and the cost of excavating the muck, even though we can spread it here, reducing the levels, bringing in hardcore, putting a decent thickened toe around the outside, shuttering it up, putting the right amount of reinforcement in and getting a really nice bit of concrete mixed, laid, labour, the whole thing is probably 4 times the price of the screws, the timber here, and that floor covering there, which we're going to be using as well. So there is, as I said, there's no horses, there's no hooves going to go through anything. It's going to be super strong. We're still going to run a good sized joist. I'm using a 175 by 50 or 7x2 in old money straight across. That will eat the span of just under 3 meters. We're going to run those through at 400 centers as well. So it's belt and braces, because there is a small garden tractor which is going to be driven in one end as well. So that'll be perfectly strong enough for that. So that's it now. I'm going to go over to the field. I have got literally a pile of gear that I didn't take this down, so it's like a jigsaw puzzle, but I do like a challenge. I have measurements and pictures which we'll look at. So these are all the components under here. We've separated them a bit and we know where we're going. So we've got, for example, this panel I see down here is the actual gable end panel there. So that sets everything. And then I've got a series of panels which then build away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start, I know the width and I know that's set in stone. So I'm going to start from one end. I'm going to form all of the floor going through. But at the other end, I'm not going to make the building the exact length. I'm going to leave my last pair out until I've got the joists all through, start building the panels through. Because it's been laying there, it's probably a little bit wet, it's gained a bit of space and size, and then I will fine tune the length of the building afterwards. I could cut it back and add a bit on, so I could leave it say 40 mil back and add some packing on to bring it out, but I think I might as well joist it through, get to the end, wait, and then add that on afterwards. So let's get on and build this floor. It's very simple. Ring beam round the outside. That's sit on top of my great big screws here. The joists will be hung in between. So you just saw me in that last clip cutting these joists, and I've now cut them all. I've got my, like, the inside of my ring beam, if you like, and then I'll put the outside of the ring beam on once we're over there, because we'll fix through the back of the ring beam into the joist to form a ladder frame from end to end. Then when we put our jiffies on, we'll pull them round underneath and we'll put them on in situ, and it's just a much quicker and nicer way of doing things, because I have got the luxury of back fixing into the ends of the joist first, making a really nice parallel true frame. If you haven't seen the video on the joists where I put a stop on the end of one and then I just rattle them all off, then check the link somewhere above me here and you might enjoy that. Right, I'm going to get over there now, get these ring beams on the screws, start fixing all the joists through. Once we get a few in, we'll then parallel them, square them, and then we'll work away from that. You just saw me bringing in the ring beams that we already pre-marked, and I've just put a few joists in here to space them out. I'm going to put a couple more in now, get it so it's sort of parallel, somewhere near straight, and then we'll add a bit more structure to it, and then we'll do a little bit of squaring up, get it squared, get a brace across it, work away. So we're end fixing through the back of the first ring beam. There's another one to go on the outside of this as well, so it's a double that goes all the way around. You can see that it's picked up by the screws. We put the screws in such a position that they would also correspond with some of the joists, which is nice as well. And in those spots, obviously we don't need hangers because the joists are sitting directly on there. And then the rest we'll put hangers round as well. So we'll carry on popping these through. One man at one side, one man at the other side, slide them in, straighten them up, whack them home. And that's the best way of doing this. Once we've got a little bit of material in, we're able to then, as I say, brace it and square it. So let's get a few more joists in. Got some nice nails, some 90mm corrosion proof nails. Have a look down the joists as you put them in, see if there's any bow, and if there is, obviously you want to put that upwards. Quite nice timber this, so I haven't really got an issue with it. So, okay mate. That's good. More nails. You see the line? I think if you're doing framing like this, it's always good to fill it in sections. So sort of go to the end, the middle of the middle, and keep it all true like that. Let's get the next one in here. This is regularized timber, so it's got a nice standardized width to it. Bit too tight, that one.
Yeah, we're just gonna nail it all.
Let's see if we can get this nailer in there.
All right.
Some can, some you can't. Here we go. Yeah, just. All right, let's get another one down that end. It's like a thick pile of mud. Nice up the top here though. Not so much mud. Let's put this microphone back on. Just make sure the tops are flush. Cool. Now we might as well get the next bit of beam on. In fact, we'll fill this one in and get this straight and braced, and then we'll come away from that, I think, because we've got quite a lot. Now we can get a measurement from any of these corners, because we know it's nice and parallel, and we set these long ledgers on the bench, so we know they're parallel. So we're going to joist the first section out, which can then take a brace. Okay, mate. You want to do this, scissor it like that, and pull it in round like that, yeah? And don't let go. Yeah. All right. I'll get mine first. so you don't move it when I'm... Like that. So it's that one, the bottom one. We then completed the joists by just following this same routine. It was really straightforward. We already had our inside ring beam all marked up on the bench, so there was no messing around, just go for it. We've got quite a few of the joists in now, and before I run out of tape measure here, I've got an 8 meter tape measure here. I'm going to check my diagonals of the frame. All the joists were cut exactly the same, so I know that it's parallel, just like a ladder. And I'm going to check these diagonals and make sure that the front ledger and the back ledger are square. They may not be straight at the minute, but if I can get these 4 positions pinned and square, so I'll put a bracket down onto my posts, my screws that are really deep into the ground, then all I've got to do then is just line up in between nice and straight. The corners will still stay where they are because they're parallel, so the whole thing can be a snake, but it can still be square at those 4 points, and I can just pull this to a string line in between. So I'm just going to check this now. I've got 7,009 millimeters, which is 20, oh, let me have a look, 23 feet dead, funnily enough. Okay, now this side, 7,009, so I've obviously moved these slightly so they're exactly right. I'm happy now. I can mark a datum on my plates on the top of the screws, and I can get a brace across. But before I get the brace across, I'm just going to sight these through these ledgers, get down in the mud, and just give them a little tap where they need to go. Get my hammer, and it's just up on the fence. Merci. Just give that a little tap there. And that is pretty nice. If you can give me a tap on that screw there, this way a touch. Just this way a touch, just a little tiny tap. Go on, go on, that's enough. Hammer. I'll sight that through again. Get down in the mud. And that is, I would say, perfect. Right, sling me that brace over here. We'll stick that on top for now to get the rest of it done. We'll just hand nail a nice long brace on top from corner to this back somewhere. Just got any old bit of timber here, nice long piece. Okay, poke the end to me. That's it, mate. Stick that on the corner. That's it. Yep. And we can do it just, yep, that's lovely. We're just going to put a pin in there. And that's it. If I stick one in the middle, it will stop this from moving there as well. I'll stick another, fire another one in for luck. This is why I love a framing hammer, because you know, you haven't really got to do any work. It's just bang, done. Cannot beat it. And that's it. Now we're ready to rock. Keep the rest going in. We are just finishing our frame, which is good. The ground is cheering up a bit. There's not so many deep puddles of water. So what we did is we cut all the joists exactly the same size. Let's move out of that sunshine. It's a bit on the bright side. So what we did, we cut all of our joists exactly the same all the way through. We did that by using a very simple method of a bracket and a long length of timber, which was nice and square. And that enabled us to have a really nice true frame. We then ran the frame with the inside of the double. This is the double here, which goes all the way around the outside, and it sits from screw to screw to screw and gives us the support we need. We ran that all the way around. We back fixed all of these first, and then we slide our hangers around, pull them up, and fix them. If you put the hangers on first, which we have to do sometimes, it's quite difficult because you've got to get a little block of timber, make sure that they're all finishing flat and flush. And I know we have to do that quite a lot, but it's nice when you can pull them round, pull them up, fix them. It's a lot quicker and it's really accurate as well. So the next process for me is, you might notice that there's hangers missing. That is where we sit in on the screws. We obviously don't need a hanger in that position. So we got the frame through, got it really nice and straight. We squared one end up and then we lined the other end up square, and we checked the overall diagonals and it was absolutely perfect. Now we're putting up a pre-used building. So this building was in another position. It got taken down, stacked in this field. We have got a series of photos, so we're pretty lucky in that respect. And I've done a little bit of measuring and working it out, so I know where we're going. So what I'm going to do is, the perimeter between here and the ground, we use a plastic plywood, and that gets clad all the way down. We let that into the ground, backfill against it, and that will come up to the frame. So our frame hangs over to that. We space it off, and we put a vent or a fly mesh at the top to allow the air in, down, and ventilate the floor space. Okay, so that's roughly what we do there. We're going to put some Protec over here, which is a bit like a felt. I'll show that to you as well. One sec. Just cut these strips. So we'll attach this. Let me get this here. We'll attach this on here just to cover that timber. Our plastic plywood will go down to the floor. Then we'll pull our hanger tops over here and we'll spike those through the top, and then we'll sit the frame on that as well. And that's it. So that's the next job. Get all this run round, get the hangers finished and fixed. We've got the PPN here. Just warmed the gas up because it was quite frosty this morning. We'll go around, fire everything in now, and then we'll start putting the frames on.